And good morning, everybody. My name is David Lynch. I'm the city manager for the city of Newton Falls, Ohio. And this is our regular morning briefing regarding the coronavirus here in Newton Falls. We strive every morning to provide a little bit of local information as relates to the coronavirus going on here in Newton Falls. Of course, nationally, the president speaks, so does our governor at 2 o'clock in the afternoons. But there's just a little bit of a local twist to the information that we think that you ought to have access to so you understand what's going on here on a local basis. And as I say every morning, make sure that you pay attention to the words of Dr. Amy Acton, who is the Director of Health for our state, because she provides detailed information which really are the guidelines of law as to how we ought to do things here in Newton Falls. Well, one of the things I want to talk about today is a brief conversation that I had with Frank Migliosi. And Frank Migliosi is the Director of Health for Trumbull County. And one of the things he wanted to make sure that I emphasized to you was the fact that here in Trumbull County, we are getting a lot of phone calls in terms of concerns about the way people are gathering or the way a store is operating. In fact, yesterday afternoon, I got a call from a citizen concerned about a particular store in Newton Falls. Well, the county wants to have those complaints funneled through a single channel. So if you can, call the Trumbull County Tip Hotline, 330-675-7841. The director wants to make sure those tips are funneled through the county. And just so you know, then the county will reach out to local officials so that whatever your concern is can be dealt with quickly. So it's not going to slow things down, but it will help consolidate information. It'll do something else. It'll help the county maintain statistics. Some people are saying, well, I'll call the city manager. Some people are saying, well, I'll call the police chief. Some people are saying, I'll call some other department somewhere else, the streets department of the city. And while we do respond to those complaints and we're concerned about people not being safe because of other issues that are occurring, contact that number, 330-675-7841. We will follow up, so use that as your consolidated number. It'll help keep everyone just a little bit more healthy. The other thing I want to talk about very briefly is now what's happening in our state and nationally. We are moving towards an opening up somewhere towards the beginning of the month. We don't have all the details quite, but you should know that this is coming straight out of Columbus with the blessing of Amy Acton, who is the State Director of Health. And some of these remarks were made yesterday by the Governor, Mike DeWine.
As we enter this new period, beginning May 1, we're going to continue to be fact-driven. We're going to follow the facts. We're going to see where we are going. We're going to have the ability to adjust where we're going. What are the variables as we kind of steer the ship? What are the variables that are going to make us go one way or the other? They're obvious, I think. Where are we at flattening the curve? We hope to start going down, but we certainly do not want to go back up. So as we open up, we're going to be very, very careful about that does not happen. Second, we're going to keep an eye on the hospital admissions. They go hand in hand with that curve that we're talking about. We're going to look at the PPE availability. How are we doing on that? And that's a everyday battle. I know it is in the private industry. I know it is for the hospitals. I know people who work in our team. We're out there trying to find this and trying to make sure that it gets manufactured. I think the good news is, I believe, that as time goes on, and we have bought some time, that's going to get better. That we're going to have more domestic companies that are making it. And that the availability will slowly, over time, go up. Testing capacity. Again, I'm an optimist. I think our testing capacity is going to go up. And we know it's going to go up. We just hope it goes up fast. But again, that is a variable in our ability to test as we move.
Well, those certainly were some words filled with rays of hope from the governor, Mike DeWine. And notice that he said, we'll be phasing gradually a reopening. maybe somewhere around May 1. So keep in mind the fact that he's talking about phasing. And of course, here in Newton Falls, that will mean different things to different localities because every community has its own personality in terms of the kind of stores they have, the kind of park atmosphere they have. And so keep an eye on these morning briefings. We will give you detailed information as to what we can and can't do here in Newton Falls, but understand it will be gradual. Be patient. So what I really take from the governor's statement more than anything else is there's light at the end of the tunnel. Praise God for that. And in terms of thanking the Lord for people doing great things, we also are appreciative to all the great outstanding workers here in the city of Newton Falls. They've kept working. And on our live line right now is the Director of Water Distribution for the city of Newton Falls, Chuck Lane. Good morning, Chuck. How are you this morning?
Great, thank you. How are you today?
Great, great. I know that you guys are doing things a little bit more differently in water distribution. You know, the other day we had Jeff Hawkins on, who's in charge of water purification, but what you do in water distribution is a little bit different. Chuck, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, we have a four-man crew. We work out in the system. We monitor and test out in the system. So now we're split up into two crews. So we're still testing and monitoring. Just we can't do the bigger jobs that we had scheduled. We can't meet with the engineers. Our sampling sites are getting fewer and fewer because of businesses not open during normal working hours. We're still able to perform all these duties, but it's just a little bit tougher. But for the most part, things are going on as supposed to. So.
Yeah, now Chuck, you're operating with split crews now. Can you describe how that works a little bit?
Myself and one of the other men are off this week, and the two other are on this week. And then next week we'll rotate so that there's always someone there. In the event of an emergency, we're all available and ready to go out and be just like an after-hours call, or able to go out and take care of whatever the problem arises.
Sure. And Chuck, the reason that we're two men on one week and then those two men are off the next week so that all four are not together is just so that we don't have all four people in the crew in the department going down with illness all at one time. Is that the whole idea?
Yes, that's correct. That's like we're not going into homes and businesses unless it's an absolute emergency. For that same reason, if that arises, we'll wear the mask and the gloves and make sure all precautions are taken care of so we reduce the risk of infection.
Sure. Well, Chuck, we appreciate the fact that you gentlemen are out there. The fact is that water is the essence of life. In fact, it's probably the thing that people realize that if denied is the most important thing in terms of sustaining life. And you guys do a great, great job. And just the fact that you're at the ready gives everybody a great sense of confidence, Chuck, because if you and your crews go down, the city of Newton Falls goes down. So thanks for all that you guys have been doing.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thanks so much, Chuck. And be in good health and peace to your family. Take care now.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. And that was Chuck Lane, the Director of Water Distribution here in the city of Newton Falls. Talk about a vital function. Nothing more vital than keeping the water flowing, keeping the water pure that's flowing, and being able to react quickly. And that's one of the great things about what's been going on in terms of Chuck Lane and water distribution. Well, here in the city of Newton Falls, as I mentioned, call that tip line 675-7841 in the 330 area code. We want those concerns about people not behaving properly to be the kind of thing that happens in a consolidated way. Here in Newton Falls, all we're doing is having conversations. I want to make sure people understand that about these tips. We're not going out there in kind of an authoritarian way. We try to use gentle persuasion, and I will tell you that as our local authorities have received tips or tips have gone to the county and come to us in Newton Falls, we have sent local officials out merely to have a conversation. And it has been effective 100% of the time. In other words, businesses and families want to cooperate. And most of the time where there have been problems, it's been out of ignorance, not out of malice, merely not really paying attention. Well, that brings to close another edition of the Morning Coronavirus Edition broadcast here in Newton Falls. As I mentioned, call that hotline. Wear your masks when you're at a store. You don't have to do that. I thought of a phrase, and that is, show the people that you care by the mask that you wear. I'm not the greatest poet, but it reminds us that we've got to concern ourselves with other people as well. So wear that mask when you're at a store. Usually at this point I say, remember to be in prayer, and I'll say it again. It should be a consistent drumbeat. You know, these are very difficult times, and the good Lord will listen to us as long as we're calling out to Him, and that means prayer. Well, I close every single one of these sessions by saying, God bless America, and God bless the city of Newton Falls.